Joining me now, Democratic Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi of Illinois. Congressman, thank you for joining us. We have a big problem right now. You've actually tweeted that the one difference between Democrat and Republicans' plans for the next COVID-19 bill is the $736 billion that Democrats are putting into the social safety net and tax cuts for families versus the Republican plans, $18 billion. We're not even close on this.
No, unfortunately, we're not. And there's a lot of infighting and factions fighting each other within the Republican Party. They aren't even able to come to the negotiating table unified with any kind of proposal. So it's very hard to negotiate with them when we don't know who to negotiate with.
Let's talk about something else that you tweeted. You said, my investigation into the contracts the Trump administration negotiated for ventilators to address the pandemic found that the White House's incompetence deprived our country of much-needed ventilators while squandering more than $500 million in tax money. We have a new story from ProPublica, which indicates that somebody got a $35 million contract for masks and other things, spent a whole bunch of it traveling around the country trying to source it. They had no experience in this and never produced a single mask.
That's right. Taxpayers got ripped off, and Donald Trump got taken to the cleaners yet again in a contract involving pandemic response. You know, he preaches the art of the deal, but here the company he negotiated with practiced the art of the steal, and taxpayers paid for it. They paid more than 5 times what they should have for previously contracted for ventilators, and Americans were deprived of ventilators at the very time when they needed it, and there was a severe shortage.
Congressman, let's talk about that Vanity Fair article, the idea that there was something akin to a national plan, a coordinated plan put together by Jared Kushner, and it was actually shut down because the coronavirus at the time was hitting states that were led by Democrats: Oregon, Michigan, Illinois, New York, New Jersey. There was something in the White House who thought, you know, let it burn itself out in Democrat states and blame the governors.
That's exactly right. Again, politics characterizes the response of the Trump administration to a pandemic that affects all of us. And, you know, my wife is an anesthesiologist, and we know that there was a severe shortage of PPE and testing kits and so forth. So a national strategy would have really helped with doing 2 things. One, making sure that we had enough testing kits, invoking the Defense Production Act to direct industry to manufacture these critical items and make sure they were provided at a lower cost to all those who needed it. But also the other aspect of this that bothers me is incompetence. You see in this Vanity Fair piece, Jared Kushner, his former college roommate, and others negotiated a deal where they purchased $53 million worth of testing kits from the United Arab Emirates of all countries. I didn't know they make testing kits. And these were junk. And yet this is what this team continues to do. They engage in JV negotiating practices, and that's what characterized the ventilator negotiations as well.
Congressman, good to see you. Thank you for joining us this morning. Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi of Illinois.